All right, I am going to use the mic because then they can hear it on the camera. So, all right, let's pray. God, I just thank you so much that you love us. Lord, I thank you for your truth that can be found in God's word. We thank you that we have it as a measuring rod to weigh and balance right from wrong. And so, Lord, I just thank you for a great opportunity where our students can test right and wrong and just help us to remember that we can always use your word as a guide. Lord, we love you. Just be in the midst of us today, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please rise for the Honorable Judge Riswald.
You can be seated. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Risvold. I will be presiding judge over this trial today, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Tatum Zelias. The jury has been impaneled and are ready to hear arguments. Counsel for the prosecution and for the defendant, are you prepared? All right. If you're ready to go, you may proceed with opening arguments.
If it may please the court, I, Andrew Smith, and my counsel, William Axelson, am here to represent the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Now, we welcome you jury members to this day, to this occasion. Now, we are here today for a reason, and that reason is the tragic death of two innocent people. These innocent people are an OCIS official, Grace Hopper, and we are here as also another death was a squatter, Artie Dent. Now, who could be responsible for this? I know who. The developer for Project Z. That person is Tatum Zelias. Now, we are charging Tatum Zelias for murder in the third degree under 2 accounts. Now, how could this have happened? Well, there were many acts of reckless endangerment, things that happened during the worksite that should not have happened. People felt pressured. They felt pushed to meet deadlines that should have been met later in time. Now, because of this pushing, these accidents that happened as a result of the greediness of Tatum Zelias, 2 people had to die as a result of a crane that fell on them. Now, how did this crane fall? Well, there was high wind speeds, and there were many red flags to stop the crane, and Tatum said, continue, continue. Let's keep on pushing to finish this project. And because they were not patient, because Tatum was selfish and wanted to finish the project for more money, then that crane fell on them, ending 2 innocent people's lives. And we are here to show you that the facts will add up, that the evidence will show through our many witnesses that Tatum Zelias is guilty. Thank you.
Counsel for the defense, you may proceed.
May it please the court, Your Honor, members of the jury. My name is Aidan Marchese, and my co-counsel, Amanda Robinson, are representing Tatum Zelias in this case. We intend to prove Tatum Zelias not guilty on both accounts of third-degree murder. Have you ever tried to help someone, but then something just went wrong in the process? I have had several times in my life where I had tried to help someone and intended to help someone without any gain for myself, but something had to have gone wrong. And I'm sure that a few of you in this room have as well. So, if that has happened to you, you would understand the phrase, no good deed goes unpunished. That is exactly why we are here today. We are here today because Tatum Zelias, the defendant, was trying to do something very good for the less fortunate people in Philadelphia, in the city of Philadelphia. But this ended in tragedy. We are here because no good deed went unpunished for Tatum Zelias, and now Tatum is being wrongfully accused of third-degree murder. Yes, 2 people died, but it was caused by an unpredicted disaster, and just because Tatum Zelias was there and present on that site does not make him responsible. He is just an innocent man that was caught in terrible circumstances. You are going to learn that the full story is that Tatum Zelias had started construction on a major apartment complex for the less fortunate people in Philadelphia. It was on government property that he had rightfully obtained, called Franklin's Trench. Franklin's Trench was full of squatters, but when Tatum arrived, they had much less than what was expected. The foundations were not laid correctly, and they had to do all of this, and because of the safety sweeps and because of all these things they had to do, progress was slowed to a crawl. We learned that when Tatum arrived, the squatters had to leave. There were 40 odd squatters before Tatum Zilius arrived, and while he arrived, there were only 2. Artie Dent and London Packard. Sorry. Artie was an unstable man and a military war veteran who made himself think that Tatum Zilius was evil because he was taking their home. But Tatum wasn't doing anything wrong. Artie Dent was illegally trespassing on this site. Tatum brought in one of the most glorified cranes in Philadelphia for this job, and you'll learn that on the rainy day of August 31st, 2012, Tatum Zilius was having Phil lift 2 large panels onto the apartment building, and it was tough for Zilius' team to decide whether to lift or to not, because he wanted the project to turn out well the way he intended for the community. He wanted this to be a place for the less fortunate people, just like how he had in his childhood. He intended for the community that he wanted this apartment complex to be sustainable and sustainable price so that the less fortunate people could be able to live there. But then again, it was raining. But after much affirmation from the crane operator and the site supervisor and the OCIS worker, all lifts could be done. And after no objections from the safety agent, Tatum's team decided to go with the lift. And the lifts were going well until the second lift of that day at around 2:45, an unexpected wind gust crashed through, collapsing the crane and crushed the safety agent, Grace Hopper, and the squatter, Artie Dent, who had snuck onto the construction site illegally. It wasn't just the project being destroyed. It crushed Tatum's dreams of being able to help the community of Philadelphia and be able to pursue and take away the things that he had to grow up in when he was younger. His dreams were crushed in making Philadelphia a better place. We will show you through evidence that these 2 people died on this site, that even though 2 people died on this site, Tatum Zilius was not responsible for it, and we will also show that Tatum Zilius only wanted to make Philadelphia a better place. I will be bringing up Tatum Zilius as a witness, and she will be testifying how no construction site can ever be 100% safe, and will also be testifying that she only wanted a more sustainable and affordable place for the less fortunate to live. And you will hear from Micah Stratton, an expert on crane operation. She will be testifying that she told Zilius that she could do the heavy lifting even through these harsh conditions because they were in the threshold of the crane. Reese Detner, my final witness, a reporter on Franklin's Trench who will testify that she saw Grace Hopper raise the green flag as a go for the lift. The prosecution will try to show that the squatters as innocent and that Tatum Zilius is a greedy monster who doesn't care about the human life and does not care about the less fortunate people and only cares about money. But we will show through these witness testimonies that the squatters were trespassing and messing with the equipment, and we will also show that Tatum Zilius' whole project was based around the less fortunate people in Philadelphia. And Tatum did care about human lives. Me and my co-counsel will stand for Tatum Zilius and defend him. We will be showing him to be innocent, and we will show flaw in the prosecution's argument that goes against our case. We are all civil and justice-seeking people in this courtroom, so let's not send an innocent man to prison. Tatum Zilius unjustly to jail for something she is not guilty for. She was just trying to do something good for the community, and it ended in tragedy. She should not be penalized for that. So, Tatum's good deed did not go unpunished. So we ask you to find Tatum Zilius not guilty of third-degree murder on 2 accounts as we present to you our case. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Counsel for the prosecution ready to proceed with their case in chief. You may.
I would like to call Emerson Turkin to the stand.
You raise your right hand. You swear that everything you're about to testify to is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You may proceed, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. What is your name, sir?
Emerson Turkin.
What is your position in this case?
I am the site supervisor.
I see. How would you describe Mr. Zilius, or Mrs. Zilius, excuse me?
Mrs. Zillis cared about getting things done quickly and was trying to get things done quickly and didn't care about the safety. And her main goal was trying to generate as much profit as possible.
If this project went well, what was your goals in this industry?
My goal was to become a property developer.
I see. What was your education in this area?
I got my degree at Penn State in construction management.
So, would you say that there was a difference between yours and Tatum's style in construction and how you carried out a work site?
Yeah, I like things to be done safely, while Tatum, he wanted things done as quickly as possible, not really caring if people got hurt. And I cared about everyone's safety. So.
What was a common phrase you heard around the work site by Mrs. Zillis?
Fast means good, fast means profit.
Did you have any worries about these statements and comments by Mrs. Zillis?
It was kind of culture around there, but it led to bad things like unsecure scaffolding, unsafe equipment, and machinery that should have been serviced months ago, if not years.
So, off of saying that, would you say that the work site was not as safe as it should have?
Yes.
Why was it not as safe as it should have been?
Like I said, some of the equipment should have been serviced a while ago, and the machines also should have been serviced, and things were not secure and safe.
When did the crane come on the site?
September of 2011.
Who was the operator of this crane?
Micah.
And your views on Micah were?
Micah was the best crane operator I've ever seen. He was very good at his job and very talented.
In your witness statement, it says you noticed a change in the month of January. Can you describe those changes?
Yeah. So a little after January 10th, Tatum, she started adding more hours, and she added an hour more for every person. She offered an hour, but for those who didn't take it, they eventually got laid off. And
So you were not asked when you were required to work those 16 hours?
No, I was not asked.
Did you feel that this pushed workers of the site?
Yes.
Let's see. Once this 16-hour shift started, did you see any accidents occur more frequently?
Yeah, the accidents were up tenfold.
And did Mrs. Zillis notice this?
Yeah, she knew, but she didn't really do anything.
She did nothing. Was Mrs. Zillis aware that the crane was holding over 200 tons, the max load?
Yes, Micah informed her, and she said to proceed.
Was there a rush to finish this project?
Yes.
Do you know the reason for this rush?
She wanted things to be done as quickly as possible, and I was getting yelled at every day because she said I was behind schedule, but we need to keep moving, and eventually we got to a third shift, which was 24 hours, so it was running constantly.
I see. You said you felt rushed and she was yelling at you. Did this yelling make you feel pressured to do things you weren't comfortable with?
Yes, every day I was getting yelled at.
I see. Was the crane... I see. During this times of being rushed, what did Mrs. Zillis say one day that seemed worrisome?
She said that she could pay for people getting hurt, but she couldn't pay for time. She said we could pay for anything but time, so this project needs to get done.
All right. You said that the crane was over the max load. Are you allowed to proceed with lifting if the crane is over the max load?
Oh, no, we should not, but we did.
You did. Is there any kind of requirement or letter that needs to be sent to approve this?
Yes.
I would like to insert Exhibit 11, Your Honor.
I have a copy.
To the witness. Can I show the witness the exhibit?
You may
Bailiff?
show a copy to counsel as well before you show it to the witness. As long as there's no objection, you may proceed.
No objection, Your Honor.
That there, Mr. Turkin, is the letter denying your request to lift over the max limit of the site. Did you ever see this letter?
No.
Are you aware that the worksite ever received that letter?
No.
See, thank you. I would like to insert Exhibit 7, Your Honor.
No objections, Your Honor.
This here, jury members, is a list of the many violations of the worksite. Can you read those violations, Mr. Turkin?
Do you want the from here down?
1 through 11. 1 through 13 will be fine.
All right. Access road was not properly graded or filled with asphalt as required for the size of vehicles routinely transited the space. 2, north scaffold. 4, was not properly secured. 3, no record was kept for morning inspections on either of the crane on site. 4, no records were kept of evening inspections for the north side crane. 5, records of evening inspections for the building area fighting fill do not show the expected level of precision for complete inspections. Inadequate secure vehicles, key left in F350 truck and J license NYB72G. 7, no documentation of bi-hourly site sweeps. 8, inadequate number of first aid kits. 9, 7 workers not wearing appropriate safety vests. 10, 1 worker not wearing approved safety footwear. 11, 1 inadequate labeled flammable liquid. 12, inadequate signal, inadequate presence of hard hat area, warning signs. 13, gap in fence of south end of work area.
Thank you. Jury members, that is the list of 13 infractions that was found by the OCIS during this worksite, along with many other incidents of people getting hurt and one incident of someone getting carried out on a stretcher. As you can see, there are many worksite infractions, and this shows that it is not a safe worksite, and many acts of reckless endangerment have happened. No further questions, Your Honor.
Counsel ready for cross-examination? Yes. You may proceed.
Who were you employed by, Mr. Turkin?
Tatum.
Okay. What was your job description?
Can you repeat the question?
What was your job description?
I was in construction management.
What were your goals as the site supervisor?
To become property developer.
So, are you an expert on crane operation?
No.
Is Micah an expert?
Yes.
So, during the lift, don't you think it's reasonable for Tatum to go with Micah's word, an expert, over yours?
Micah asked him if he would like to proceed.
That's not what I'm asking. Let me rephrase that question. Don't you think it's reasonable for Tatum to go with Micah's word for the lift, an expert over you?
Yes.
You said that you didn't want to speak during the lift, correct?
Yes.
Why?
Wait, could you repeat the question before that?
Why?
No, the one.
Sustained. Re-ask the question, counsel, from the beginning. The whole question, not just the why.
You said you didn't want to speak during the lift, correct?
Yes.
Why did you not want to speak during the lift?
I'm not an expert in the area.
Okay. So, were you more concerned about your job than the safety of the workers?
I was concerned about both.
So, is it true that you said you would adhere to every code to keep the site safe?
I would adhere to every code? Yes.
And yet, before Tatum came, there was still unlocked equipment and unsecured scaffolding, correct?
Yes.
So it's okay for you to ignore safety, but call Tatum reckless?
I
Objection, Your Honor, leading the witness.
It's Cross. He's supposed to lead the witness, counselor. It's overruled. You may proceed.
Can you repeat the question?
So it's okay for you to ignore safety, but call Tatum reckless?
No.
London Packard's testimony states that Artie attacked you, but yours says nothing about that. Why are your testimonies inconsistent?
Artie didn't actually hit me or anything.
So in London Packard's testimony, it states that he did attack you and that the only reason you were able to get away was because London got in the way between you two. So did you just forget about being assaulted?
I'm not too sure what you're asking.
Okay, I will just skip that question then. Isn't it true that you stated that Micah was the best crane operator that you've seen regardless of the weather?
Yes.
So did that not apply to the day of the accident?
I warned Tatum before, but he wanted to proceed, aware of the risk.
Isn't it true that when Hurricane Isaac hit the Gulf Coast, you said that it didn't impose any threat to the workers?
Could you repeat the question one more time?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled. It's his own statement.
Isn't it true that when Hurricane Isaac hit the Gulf Coast, you said that it didn't impose any threat to the workers?
Yes.
So if you, the site supervisor, wasn't worried about the weather, then why should Tatum be worried?
I was worried.
Did you stop the squatters that were on the site almost every day?
I tried.
By doing what?
One day they were there at night, and I got them away. It was London and someone else.
What did you do to keep them away?
So I did different things, but sometimes I would like run at them or try and speak to them to leave. I spoke to the London, which was like their self-proclaimed leader, and asked them not to do the things they were doing.
Okay. So it states that in your witness statement, you said that you were not worried about the weather because you weren't worried that Hurricane Isaac would impose any threat to the workers. So why are you saying something differently now?
What? Can you repeat the question?
You stated that Hurricane Isaac did not impose any threat to the workers. But now you're saying, after your witness statement, that you were worried about the weather. Why is that inconsistent?
I was worried about the weather. That's what I'm saying.
It states that in your witness statement you were not worried.
I was. I talked to Tatum about it. That's why I was worried.
Would you say that providing housing for the less fortunate is a good deed?
Yes.
Was Tatum trying to provide housing for the less fortunate?
Yes.
So was Tatum doing a good deed?
Yeah.
Okay. So on line 38 of your witness statement, it says that you started to stop caring and started mindlessly signing papers, correct?
Correct.
So in that, could you have possibly not seen the city permit papers?
I'm not sure.
As the site supervisor, you control the safety sweeps, correct?
Yes.
So is it your fault that the sweeps got cut and not Tatum's?
No.
It is not your fault
About the sweeps getting cut?
about the sweeps getting cut, yes.
They were getting, I would not have them cut, but Tatum wanted them cut, so.
But you are in control of that. Tatum is the owner and the property owner, but you are not. You are the site supervisor. You have responsibility over the sweeps getting cut.
Okay.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect, counsel? Please raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You may proceed, counsel.
What is your home?
My home is Franklin's Trench.
How many people lived with you?
Around 50.
Okay. How and when did you find Franklin's Trench?
It was one day in 1975 when I was strolling around Philadelphia and I stumbled upon Franklin's Trench. It was in the perfect place, perfect conditions, and I decided to live there.
Okay. How long have you lived in Franklin's Trench?
I have lived there for a couple years.
Okay. Who lived with you that stood out?
Tatum's mother was a person that stood out to me that lived there.
In 2011, when Tatum announced that he would start the construction, how did the people in the trench feel? How would you describe that?
I would say that they definitely did not like it at all. And I would say that they felt like pressured and just didn't like it.
How would you describe Artie Dent?
I would describe him as one of the strangest residents of the trench.
How did you fight the construction in the beginning?
What do you mean?
So when the construction started to come and Fighting Phil started to come, how would you say you fought against it or tried to protest against it?
Well, me and Artie, we tried to stop it because we didn't like it at all.
Okay. What was your position in the squatters?
I was their leader.
Who is Reese Denter?
She is a reporter.
Okay. Did Reese ever have an interaction with Tatum or any people on the worksite?
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
It's going to be overruled as to the interaction, but any conversations, you can object again, Counselor. You can answer the question as to whether you witnessed them interacting.
Would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes.
Okay. Did Reese ever have an interaction with Tatum or any people on the worksite?
I would say yes.
Did you ever talk to Tatum or anyone on this project?
I did not talk to Tatum.
Okay. Did you talk to anyone else on the worksite?
I did talk to Emerson Turkin.
Okay. What was mentioned during this conversation?
I suggested to him to move the crane to another place.
In January, what changed?
A fence was put up to keep everybody out.
Is it true that you were not allowed in the site / your home?
Yes.
Okay. Is it true that Silas said to cut safety sweeps?
Yes.
What were the dangers that occurred when Turkin left and Zillis was in charge?
Could you
Objection,
repeat?
Your Honor. Assume facts, not evidence.
Sustained. Lay some foundation, Counsel.
Right. As the project went on, what happened to the squatters?
They were getting injured. There was just a lot of mess and
Okay.
like.
Were you
confusion.
denied your rights as a squatter?
I would say yes.
Okay. What happened on August 24th?
I found a letter in the trash, which basically said that Tatum was not allowed to put up the crane.
Again, Your Honor, I would like to turn in Exhibit 11, which basically says.
It's been previously admitted. You can show it. Go ahead.
So is this the paper that you saw in the trash or where you found it?
It is.
Okay. No further questions with the paper, though. What happened on August 31st?
That was the day the crane collapsed.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross.
Can you tell me what your position was on the site of Franklin's Trench?
I was a resident and the leader of the squatters.
Did you mention in your witness statement that Artie Dent had told you that he wanted to make it extra dramatic by killing himself on the site?
Yes.
Did you say that Project Z had to start every morning with repairing damage in construction and it had been slowed to a crawl?
Yes.
Did Artie Dent state that he was going to try and destroy Project Z?
I'm not sure.
Is it true that you mentioned that Tatum Zilius was the one to raise the green flag?
Yes,
Was it very rainy that day?
it was.
You stated that you were an adult in the 1960s, so that would mean that you were in your late 60s and early 70s, correct?
Correct.
So your eyes may have been decaying since you were 40, correct?
They could have, but I don't believe so.
So can you be 100% certain that it was Tatum that raised the green flag?
Yes, because I saw him.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Does the prosecution have any other witnesses they wish to call?
No, Your Honor.
Any further evidence you wish to submit to the court and the jury
No, Your Honor.
prior to resting your case in chief? Okay. Show the prosecution has arrested. Is the defense prepared to proceed with their case in chief?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Whenever you're prepared, counselor, you may call your first witness.
I would like to call up Reese Stetner to the stand.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may proceed.
Tell us your name.
Reese Stetner.
What is your job on the site?
I'm a reporter and a journalist.
Do you have any experience in journalism? If so, elaborate.
Yes, I used to work in London. Then when I moved here, I worked on TMZ.
What is your educational background?
I have a bachelor's degree in English and communication and a master's degree in journalism.
What is your relationship to this case?
I was writing a piece called Trench Warfare, and I was there trying to get evidence and tips.
How do you feel about Tatum Zilius?
I think he's a snake and a cheapskate.
What did Tatum Zilius do to Franklin's Trench?
He came in, he started speeding up the work. That's about it.
Did you agree with what Tatum was doing on Franklin's Trench?
Yes.
What did you hear Grace Hopper say with your long-range microphone on the day?
I didn't hear all of what she was saying. I only got snippets. But what I did hear was, I can't reach. I guess you can do what you, and then do what you want. Proceed.
Okay. What did you see Grace Hopper do before the lift began?
She went to talk to Tatum.
Okay. And did she ever raise the flag?
Yes.
And which color? What was the color of the flag?
I think green.
How many minor injuries compared to major injuries around the site?
Not really.
They were just mainly minor injuries? Okay. Did you see any major injuries? Did Tatum pay all workers' compensation to abide those injuries?
Yes.
Did you know Mr. Dent?
Yes.
Did he slow down the work on the site?
Yes.
Did you ever leave wire cutters by Artie's bedroll?
Yes.
Did he use them to open up the fence?
Yes.
Did Emerson, the site supervisor, ever fix up the fence? Did Grace give the go to lift?
Yes.
Do you think that Tatum Zilius is a murderer?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross?
We asked to enter Resender as a hostile witness.
It's cross-counsel, so you can go ahead and treat her as a hostile witness because she's not your witness. You don't need
Okay.
my permission. Go ahead.
Alrighty. Is your job a reporter?
Yes.
Did you notice safety hazards when you were on the site?
Yes.
Was the site safe?
Tatum had one of the worst safety records of anybody in the area.
Can you describe the safety hazards that went on?
He cut some safety sweeps. They were not doing a very good job of keeping the squatters out of the area. They did put up the fence, but nobody patched the hole, so they were still getting in.
Okay. What did you notice in January of 2012?
A speed up in construction and in everything else that was going on in the trench. More injuries to minor.
Can you explain what you mean by and everything that was going on in the trench?
The workers were working more hours and they were trying to get more things done. It was a little more rushed.
Do you think that it was wise to add more hours to the workers?
No.
What did you catch Tatum saying when he was talking with Emerson Turkin?
We can pay for anything but time. We can pay for injuries.
What happened on the day of the accident?
Objection, Your Honor, ambiguous.
Just a little more specific, Counselor.
What did you notice going on the day of the accident? So when they were about to lift the crane or lift the second panel, what did you notice?
Creaking metal. I'm not really sure what you're asking.
So when the crane was lifting up and when it was lifting up what did you notice around the crane? Was there people there? Was there something wrong with it?
I'm not sure.
No further questions, Your Honor.
You may step down. Does the defense have another witness to call?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to call up Micah Stratton to the stand.
All right. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may proceed.
Tell us about yourself.
My name is Micah Stratton. I am 46 years old. I have a degree in mechanical engineering and from Drexel University.
What was your job on the construction site?
I was the crane supervisor.
What was the crane that you were operating?
It was fight and fill.
What is your experience with fight and fill, and how long have you been operating this crane?
I have lots of experience with fight and fill. I've been working with it for about 18 years.
How is your experience with fight and fill in those last 18 years?
I would say it's pretty good.
How often did you repair and inspect parts?
Every 3 months.
Have you ever had any major accidents with fight and fill before the incident?
No.
Was Tatum...
Improper character testimony.
I'm sorry, Counsel, say that again.
Improper character testimony.
It'll be overruled.
Have you ever had... Oh, sorry. Was Tatum going to use fight and fill as the first crane?
No.
Were there any problems with the roof panels?
Yes.
Can you state those problems?
Vaguely not the best, I would say. Still kind of, fuzzy from that.
Can this crane actually carry more than its maximum load?
Yes.
So what was its actual maximum load at 100% threshold?
It's about 3,200 tons.
So does that mean that the panels were below the 100% max threshold?
Yes.
Do you need city permission to go above the 80% max threshold?
Yes.
So was the lift ever actually disproved before the lift went on?
Yes, I believe so.
Has Fight and Fill ever done more than 2,750 tons in the past?
Yes.
And what were those weights and how did they go?
About 2,800 to 3,000 tons, and they went pretty good.
Did you do an inspection on Fight and Fill before the events on August 31st, 2012?
Yes.
Did Fight and Fill look good as new before the lift?
I would say so, yes.
What was your opinion on the wind and weather that you told Grace Hopper?
I would say that it was not the best personally, but then she decided to go ahead with it.
I would like to admit Exhibit 6 into evidence, Your Honor.
Any objection?
We have no objections, Your Honor.
May I give this to?
You may proceed, yes.
Please identify this sheet.
This was the weather updates from the day of the accident, August 31st.
Please read what the wind speeds were at 12:05 that day.
About 5 to 15 miles per hour.
Were they within the crane's threshold?
I would say yes.
Please read the wind gusts at 12:05.
About 20 miles per hour.
Were those within the crane's threshold?
Not really.
Please read the wind gusts at the wind speeds at 3:05. Flip the page.
30 to 35 miles per hour.
Were those in the crane's threshold? But what time did you start the second big lift of the day?
About 2:15.
So was the weather predicted to be worse and above the threshold after the lift had begun?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-exam.
How long have you been working with Fighting Phil?
About 18 years.
Would you say that that is old?
Depends how you interpret it.
So for a piece of mechanical equipment, would you say that that is old? You would say that it is old? Would you say that it possibly should have been serviced before the use of it on this project?
No,
But it is old.
sort of.
Were there any incidents before Project Z?
No.
There were not.
No.
I would like to insert her witness statement, Your Honor.
Just for the record, lines 13 through 16.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Counsel.
The worst was a snap drop when the cables supported the load snap. This cost us nearly $1 million in insurance payouts. We hadn't inspected Phil in over 5 months when that happened, but after we started using higher grade steel in the cables, it hurt our profits, sure, but at ELS, lives are the most important thing. Thank you.
So according to your witness statement, there was an incident? All right, thank you for clearing that up. According to your witness statement, what happened in January of 2012?
Let's see, it's a little vaguely hard to remember. Yeah, like I said, it's hard to remember.
All right, we can move on to the next question. How much is the normal maximum engine load of Fighting Phil?
I would say it is about 2,800 tons.
According to your witness statement, it is 2,750, but that is close enough. How much were the panels that you needed to lift?
Vaguely, they were 2,800.
According to your witness statement, it was 2,900.
Okay.
Yes. So, if something is above the max load of your crane, of your equipment, what needs to be done?
I would say we have to take off the load a little bit, and then we can do it little by little and increase it.
Is that what you did? And as an expert, why didn't you do that?
Because
So Tatum had the executive decision on the safety.
Grace did.
Grace did? So who ordered you to make the lift?
Grace.
Grace did. So you said, so even though you didn't have this permission, sorry, let me rephrase that question. Was there any pressure from Zillis to make the lift that was over?
To me, I feel like there wasn't.
There wasn't any pressure?
Not to me.
And even though you were in charge of the safety of the crane, you went ahead without pressure.
I'd say there's a little bit, but not that much.
So there was some pressure from Tatum. I see. Thank you. So on August 31st, 2012, the day of the lift, was there safety inspections done on Fighting Phil?
Yes.
Were they completely thorough as it should have been? No, it was not. And why was this done? Not completely thorough? Why was it not completely checked?
Because we had to hurry up with the lift.
And who told you to hurry?
Tatum.
Tatum rushed the safety of the worksite, you're saying? No or yes? Can you say it louder, please?
Yes.
Yes. Tatum rushed the safety. I see. At 2:15, you stopped for a second shift. Who told you to continue at 2:15?
Grace.
Grace told you to continue?
I believe so.
It says in your witness statement that you had a meeting with Grace Turkin and Zillis. Is that true that you had that meeting?
Yes.
And who gave the executive decision to continue after that meeting?
I believe it was either Grace or Tatum.
So it is possible that it was Tatum?
Possible.
All right, thank you. So you said earlier during your direct examination that the wind was above the max at 2:15. Am I correct in saying that you said that in your previous?
Yes.
So it was above, and you still continued to do it, even though the weight was also max.
Yes.
So you broke the wind speed rules and the weight rules?
With Grace, it's okay.
Grace said it was okay? According to your witness statement, it was Tatum who pressured you. So which one's true, your witness statement or what you're saying right now?
I would believe it's still fuzzy after the whole incident happened, so then I'm not able to correctly remember some things.
But you do remember, as an expert witness, that you broke the rules?
I would say yes.
And being the project developer, Tatum is in charge of the work site, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Lack of personal knowledge.
Overruled.
And Tatum hired you?
Yes.
So Tatum gave you all the directions that you carried out?
Yes.
So Tatum was the one that instructed you to continue lifting even though the wind speeds were too high during the second lift, and also that the weight was 200 tons above the max?
Yes.
All right. You said in your witness statement that you saw Tatum and Grace talking, right? After the second shift? Do you have any things that you could think of the reason of their talking?
Not really. I wasn't in the conversation.
When the crane collapsed, but right before, did you see anything that went wrong?
Objection, Your Honor. She is an expert witness.
Your
Sorry,
Honor.
just restate the basis of the objection so that I understand it. She's been qualified as an expert witness, and the question is whether she saw anything that was unsafe. Is that right?
Yes, on the day of the accident.
Isn't she qualified to give that answer, Counselor? She's an expert. Yeah. Go ahead.
Repeat the question.
Right before the accident, did you see anything go wrong? You didn't see anything go wrong before the accident. Can you describe to the jury what went wrong during the accident?
Vaguely, I don't remember, but I would say it's just the wind gusts were a little higher than usual
And you knew this and still continued. Why?
because I was given the okay.
By Tatum. So Tatum, as you said continually, has instructed you to do things that were not safe. And the reason the crane collapsed is because it was conducted under unsafe circumstances. Am I correct in saying this too?
Yes.
So you would say Tatum is responsible.
No. He may have said okay to everything else, but I definitely wouldn't call him responsible.
So the person who told you to do all these unsafe things isn't responsible? Oh. Okay. Well, no further questions, Your Honor.
You may step down. Does the defense have any other witnesses they wish to call in their case in chief?
Yes, I have one more witness. I'd like to call up Tatum Zilius to the stand.
You raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right. You may proceed, counsel.
State your name, please.
I am Tatum Zilius.
What was your childhood like?
Well, what do you exactly want to know? Do you want to know, like,
How you grew up?
Okay. Well, I grew up in the gutter, so I was homeless. I was poor. I never met my dad. I was only with my mom. But I say that my mom is one of the best role models that a kid could ever have. She taught me how not to make the same mistakes that she did and how to be kind and willing to do stuff for others who are less fortunate than we were.
Can you tell us about your educational background?
Of course. So I finished college and I got a MBA in engineering.
What was Project Z to you?
Project Z to me was a lightsaver, in my opinion, because one, it was an amazing foundation. It was amazing to help people less fortunate to get more houses, and so that way people like me as a child would not have to grow up without a home.
So what was your goal of Project Z?
My goal, Project Z, was to create as much houses as possible and to make them for a low cost so that way so many people can come and live, because I think that every person deserves a home.
Did you have permits in hand when going to Franklin's Trench?
Yes.
How was Project Z funded?
Public money.
How were you able to finally help your mom?
Can you repeat the question?
How were you able to finally help your mom?
By giving her some of the money and helping her to have a better life more, like basically financial.
What measurements did you take to ensure safety?
I took a lot of measurements because I made a fence. I made a fence so that way people couldn't come into the crane industry, so that way nothing gets tampered with, because safety is very important.
Why did you hire Emerson Turnkin?
He was in management, and I thought that I needed I needed someone to manage around to make sure that things will be safe and settled, because I am only the owner of the land. I am not the owner of the cranes.
What were the instructions you gave Emerson?
So the instructions that I gave him is that to follow the code and to protect workers and do what you have to do. Don't do what you don't have to do. Work smarter, not harder.
Okay. Can you explain why you wanted the roof panels put on so quickly?
So that way I can meet my goal to 2011. I could meet the goal, absolutely, because I want to get these houses fixed for everyone as soon as possible.
Are you an expert in crane operations?
Yes. Wait, no.
No, you're not. Was there any better crane for the job?
I don't think so. I think Fighting Phil was the best crane that could possibly do it.
What did Micah tell you regarding the heavy lifts?
She told me to just keep going. Give the green light. Just keep going for the panels, the lifts.
Would you consider Micah an expert on that?
Yes.
Did you order safety sweeps on the day of the accident?
Yes.
Did you do all the safety sweeps that the code required?
Yes. Safety is very important.
Help us get a picture of the scene. Were squatters seen messing with the crane?
I believe so, because...
It's not hearsay, but I'll sustain the objection as speculation. Ask a little bit differently, counsel.
Did you see any of the squatters messing with the crane?
No.
Did you ever receive a response from the city about the permission for the revised lift plan?
Can you repeat the question?
Did you ever receive a response from the city about the permission for the revised lift plan?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Any cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
Whenever you're ready, you may proceed.
Okay, Your Honor. When was this project born?
Can you repeat?
When was this project born, or when did you first envision it?
I'm sorry. Can you speak clear? Sorry.
When did you first envision this project?
I envisioned it in 1990.
Can you please repeat that?
I did it in the 19s.
Would you like to read your witness statement to clear your mind?
Yes, please.
I'd like to insert Tatum Zilla's witness statement, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
All right. 2010.
All right, thank you. What were your personal goals going into this project?
Like I've previously stated, I want to make quicker homes. I wanted to make sure people can afford them and people can have a place to sleep. People have a place to stay and have a roof over their head.
Your Honor, may I turn in Exhibit 4?
Any objection, counsel, to Exhibit 4?
Any objections?
No objections, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
On before October 31st, 2012, 25 million.
Can you read the next line down?
This one? Okay. Oh, sorry, I swapped the two. The first one was on or before December 30th, 2011, $3 million. The second line is on or before October 31st, 2012, 25 million.
Can you flip the back? There's also one more date in money. Can you read that too?
Yes. On or after November 1st, 2012, 15 million.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
So according to that paper, if you finish the project on or before December 2011, you received $30 million. So there was millions of dollars involved in the completion of this project. Why did you pick this place? Franklin's Trench, sorry.
Because that's where I grew up in. I mean, it looked more poor to me. And like I keep saying, I want to do more for the less fortunate. And I thought that if a place that didn't have a lot could actually gain a lot, that makes sense.
So you knew that there were squatters there?
I did.
And you wanted to help the less fortunate, but you kicked the less fortunate out?
No.
You didn't kick them out. They were allowed to stay there.
Facts, not in evidence.
It's overruled.
Can you repeat the question?
So you wanted to help the less fortunate, but the less fortunate were kicked out. Correct?
I believe so.
The squatters were not allowed in their home?
I believe so.
All right, so you kicked the squatters out, but they had a right to be there?
Well, I thought that maybe they would cause some type of destruction to the plan.
So you thought they'd cause destruction, but you also thought this was an ideal place to carry out your project?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But that's why I made the fence.
So you did think it was a bad idea because the squatters were there?
Once again, I made the fence so the squatters would not be there.
Right, so so you kicked the squatters out of their home to help less fortunate people?
Yes.
All right. So when you visited the site in the January of 2012, is it true that you cut down safety sweeps from an hour to 20 minutes?
Yes,
You're all about safety, and you cut the safety sweeps by 40 minutes, correct?
that is correct.
That is correct. Okay. Did you notice any violations and citations that were done on the worksite by OCIS workers?
Yes.
You did notice. I see. What did you do about these citations and violations?
Can you repeat that?
What did you do once you noticed these citations and violations?
I decided to take action to it.
And this action included what exactly?
Can you repeat that?
What actions did you take?
By kicking them out.
You kicked the squatters out of their home?
Yes, because I don't want anything to be tampered with.
All right. Is it true that you started a second shift?
Yes.
Did you ask the workers if they wanted to work this second shift?
No.
You did not. What was your reason for adding this second shift?
Because, like I said, I want to get this done before the deadline because I want to get as much houses for possible.
And it's also true that if you get it done by a deadline, you get more money, correct?
That is indeed correct, but I do think that it's more for the houses.
That get you more money, okay. So, when did you lift up the panels?
Can you repeat that? Are you asking for a specific date?
Yes.
Specific date.
Yeah, when did the panels lift off?
I don't, wait, August? No.
Would you like to read your witness statement?
Yes, please.
May I give her her witness statement?
Certainly.
Can you repeat the question?
When did the panels lift off? Like, when did the crane lift them off the ground?
January 2012.
Right, thank you. Were you aware that the panels were 200 tons over the max engineering load?
No.
You were not aware of this? Would you like to read your witness statement again?
No thanks. I mean, yes, I was aware.
You were aware of that? I see. What has to be done if if the tons are over the max load?
What was the question?
What has to be done if the crane is holding over the max load?
It has to be let down because that's too much weight, and that can cause injuries.
And did you do this?
No.
You said it would cause injuries, and you lifted it knowing it could cause injuries?
Yes,
And you're all about safety, correct?
that is indeed correct.
You still stand by that, yet you did something that you know could kill many people?
I never expected it to kill a
You
person.
did just say that it could cause injuries, so you had some awareness that it was dangerous.
Not to cause murder, not to cause death.
So a
because
2,900 panel hanging above the sky, if it dropped, do you think it would just cause injuries, not death?
I was never expecting anything. I was never expecting any ill will to anyone. I was expecting
Even though you said it could cause injury.
it could, but I was not expecting stuff to happen to my workers.
Were you aware that if it is over the max load that you need a permission from City Hall?
Yes.
And did you receive this letter?
No.
You did not receive this letter. Your Honor, I would like to turn in Exhibit 11.
Exhibit 11's been previously admitted. I assume there's no objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
This paper was found in your trash can in your office by a squatter. Were you aware that you had this paper in your room?
Yes.
You were aware. So that is the denial for your permission to go above the engineering max load. So you did have that paper and you threw it away and continued anyway?
Objection, Your Honor. Assuming facts not in evidence.
It's cross-examination. He can inquire as to the witness's intent with the paper. Go ahead. You can ask it again if you'd like.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would
What
you
was
like
the
me to repeat? Yeah, okay. So you were aware that City Hall denied your request to go above the max load?
No. Yes.
Yes. And you continued anyway?
Yes, because I wanted to get the project done.
Because you wanted more money?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading question.
It's cross-examination. If they're not leading, they're not doing their job. You can ask the question again. Go ahead.
So, what was I saying? I said that you were aware that even though City Hall denied your request to go above the max load, you continued anyway.
That is correct.
And you did this why?
Again, to get passed for the work, I guess a little bit was for more of to do more with the work to get it more completed.
So would you say that you did this to complete deadlines to collect more money?
That is somewhat correct.
So you broke the law, denied a request from City Hall, lifted a deadly 2,900-pound weight above tons of people to get more money. Because that's all stuff you said, so I'm right in saying that?
Yes.
Okay. So, no further questions.
Do you need this bad?
All right.
Do you need it
All right.
bad?
I don't want to have to clear the courtroom. Does the defense have any additional witnesses they wish to present or any additional evidence they wish to present before resting their case?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Go back down.
You may step down. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you've now heard all of the evidence and the arguments and seen all of the evidence, heard all of the witness testimony. You'll now hear closing arguments from the attorneys. I'll remind you that closing arguments and anything that the lawyers say in their arguments is not evidence, and you must only consider the evidence and the facts that you've heard that are in the record before you today. Is the prosecution prepared to close?
You said prosecution closes?
Or, I mean, the defense. Yes, prosecution will close first, then the defense. Yep.
Thank you.
Sorry, I've been doing civil work for way too long. Throwing me back into a criminal courtroom.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as you can see from our witnesses of this horrible event and the tragic death of two innocent people, Grace Hooper and Artie Dent, you can see that Tatum had no regard for safety of her employees, resulting in this horrible event. Tatum disregarded protocol and didn't care for the people that worked for her, just because she wanted to get the project done and wanted to get money from it. As stated before, Tatum didn't care for the people. She could pay for that. She only wanted to finish the project because she was running out of time. Jury, I want you to realize the gravity of this situation. Tatum Zillis disregarded protocol and safety for a project that could have gotten postponed. Yet, she decided to push through, resulting in third-degree murder of 2 accounts. Jury, look at this woman. And think of the families that are suffering because of this woman. Jury, please look at the facts and evidence of this case and vote guilty. Thank you.
Is the defense prepared to proceed with closing arguments?
May it please the court, Your Honor, and members of the jury. My name is Aiden Marchese, and I will be presenting you the closing argument for the plaintiff. We have a significant case before us, because while 2 people did die unexpectedly, a woman trying to make Philadelphia a better place has been wrongfully accused of murder. You've heard it said already. No good deeds go unpunished, and that is exactly what we have here before us. In 2003, Commonwealth versus Ruby, the court concluded that if the death was unexpected, you are not guilty of murder. Although it is always tragic when anyone dies, the events on August 31st were unforeseen and unexpected, which means Tatum Zillius cannot be blamed for something that was a sheer accident. Commonwealth versus Comer, 1998, states that if behavior does not manifest extreme indifference to the value of human life, the man is innocent. Tatum clearly showed no indifference to the value of human life and only wanted to make Philadelphia a better place. As his whole goal of Project Z was to provide housing for the less fortunate. Although there was bad weather, it was not predicted to be as bad as it was, as the lift went off at 2:45 and the weather report came out at 3:05. The site supervisor, crane operator, and OCIS worker all gave the lift a go to commence. Another judicial decision, Commonwealth versus DeStefano of 2001, states that third-degree murder is with any form of malice. Tatum Zilius had everything but malice in this project to make Philadelphia a better place. Malice is having coldness of heart, wickedness in decisions, cruelty, or recklessness. Tatum followed all required codes and paid all harmful violations. He didn't want anyone to grow up like he did, so he put it in his hands to make Philadelphia a better place for the less fortunate. I submit to you to find Tatum Zilius not guilty. Thank you for your consideration.